Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension messages. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I'll be your guide for today. Just going to set up the start that again. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, chat bar. Just making sure that the chat bar is going. Okay. We're getting there. There's always a little bit of a setup when I go through Zoom, but we're getting there. Okay, today I'm going to be channeling some messages through. I have got a couple of messages that came through. Hey, Diana and Vanda in the chat bar. A little bit of housekeeping first. My masterclasses will be up for sale this Monday coming, or it'll be Tuesday for those on the other side of the world, but I'll be putting them up for sale on Monday, so from Australia. So you're most welcome to come and join us there. Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting because there's a lot of information that poured through. It's like 4 hours of videos, and I've done them so that they're really you follow stories that are pretty unreal, and get links to other things that I've got links to from my guides throughout the years, and understanding about the mind and everything, and how we can actually learn to still it, to be able to move into channeling so that we can empower ourselves, and then the world becomes connected to the universal language of telepathy, which means we can connect to other species as well. And it's very exciting news when that happens. But I was gifted that big changes are coming. It feels like they're not at the moment. It's a really weird feeling at the moment. It's like we've been sitting in the void almost too long. and it just feels like, is this ever going to move? Is this ever going to happen? It is going to happen. But they gave me this really profound dream as well, where there was a bridge over a river. And usually rivers mean to me life force, and bridges to do with the balancing mind, and that's the corpus callosum, that's in the central part of your brain that balances the mind. And they showed me walking to the center of the bridge and throwing out a fishing line, and I caught a massive shark. And sharks represent the psychic connections that we have. They're also leadership. They are the leaders of the sea kind of thing. So it's to do with psychicness, big psychicness coming, and leadership. But we have to step onto the bridge, into the middle of the bridge, to be able to cast the line. We can't cast the line from the side anymore, like either the logical side or the feminine side, the intuitive side. There has to be a balance that comes from within us, just feeling central within ourselves. And that means that they're asking us to live in the moment, just keep living in the moment. I know you don't know what's coming, but they're like saying, we know you don't know what's coming. That's the whole point of this. It's a trust game. They want us to trust. If they gave it to us, what was going to happen next straight up, then there'd be no need to be trusting in that. It's like the logical mind needs to know, and that's what we've been living through for quite a long time now, and our relatives past and all that, been living in that. Well, we have to know, so we're going to plan our life out strategically, and it became very limited. You can't have limitations, or you can't have the whole board of possibilities in front of you if you constantly want to know what's going to happen next, because that in itself is already pushed you into a place where you are limited yourself. Just the fact that you said, I'm going to only take that path, and that path's the path I'm taking, even if it doesn't feel good, even if I don't like it when I'm actually journeying it. I'm not making any detours because I know where I'm going. It makes me feel safe. And so that's how humanity's been living. But they're wanting us in this moment, this void, this realization that we don't know. It's literally our masculine side's shaking. What the frick is going to happen next, you know? But it's because it needs to let go enough to see that there is something coming that can gift you many possibilities, and to choose through your feelings rather than dictate in the moment for yourself in the future, which never really accomplishes any sort of great feelings because you limit yourself as you go along. Yeah, huge message just there. So this is why the changes are going to start to come. And I've actually titled this "Changes Are Coming," because we're going to start to be squeezed. The outside world is going to feel so uncomfortable that we're squeezed into a position. It doesn't matter if it's to do with weather or, you know, depending on what part of the world you're living in, whether you're in a war zone or not, or any of that sort of stuff. Or yes, it would make a difference, obviously, for those people, but it could also be that it's just your family dynamics. Could also be that it's just you realizing that you have to change, if you have to change your ways if you're to make your life feel good again. And so we are in this position now, literally of a void, where we have to come we have to find central point of ourselves, or go halfway over the bridge and find a central point to be able to cast a line of opportunities, cast a line of connections to our psychic self, where all possibilities reign. Many possibilities can reign. And then you've got choices coming in. Even the feminine in this world trying to fit into a masculine world, the feminine side comes up with all these ideas, but then they get fixated in on one idea and they will hold on to it till death do part, so that they fit into that masculine agenda. Oh yes, I am actually going for that journey over there, you know. Yeah. And so that means I'm somebody because I know what I'm doing. And that's it's not that you're not knowing what you're doing. It's just that the message is that the feminine side has many possibilities that it can rein in and share. And it doesn't necessarily, if your outside reality, I actually did a reading for someone yesterday, and I'm trying to remember it because it does fit this scenario. The outside reality that we have, if it doesn't agree with that imagining, then we need to, as feminine power, say that's okay. We won't go that way because I'm water. I can move and find another possibility that is in alignment with those that are outside of me as well. And stop fixating in on it has to be that way. So then the feminine starts to try to control outside of themselves as well. And when that happens, it becomes this resistance between everybody's, you know, them and their outside world. So they want the feminine to take their power back. We need to understand that our power comes from within us and how we feel, and trusting who we are to be able to wield magic coming in, different ideas, different scenarios at any given moment, be like water and move through this life saying, well, this feels right for me and my outside world, because who's the outside world? The outside world is just a mere reflection of self anyways. So as soon as you start pushing against your outside world, you're saying to the outside world, you're not my friend, I need to control you. And the outside world is it means that you're, as in a reflection, you're actually saying to self, I don't like what I've created. And so I'm going to try to control it. Oh my God, where are they going? Sorry, every now and then my logical mind clicks back in and I'm like, where are you taking me? Where are you taking me? So it is to do with us coming back to central point and trusting this feminine power that we have. There's a power that wants to come through to show ourselves and humanity that there's way more that we could bring or ground into this reality. And it doesn't have to be a fixed position anymore. That is the logical, that is the masculine's way, and that is absolutely needed once we all make a decision, like our outside world and our inner world makes a decision. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna go on to some of these messages that I got, and maybe this will help like just calm that down, and then we'll get to understand a bit more, because there is some really cool stuff here. So I've written a couple of things on my phone. Messages for the feminine and the masculine within us all. To the feminine, this is the ascension process at the moment, the energies at the moment. To the feminine that have done much to the feminine that have done much shadow work. I might have said this in another reading. I'm not sure. If I did, it's okay. I need to say it again because it's following up on some other powerful messages coming through. So I'm going to say it anyway. To the feminine that have done much shadow work, use these energies at the moment to develop your business skills, to ground your dreams, and create a world of unique experiences. This will also help humanity leave the fixed, logical, rule-based reality and take a leap of faith towards expansion. So this could be, you could take this from within yourself and your feminine side, or it could be that you are the feminine in the relationship. And so that's your power of what you need to, how we can use these energies at the moment. To the masculine, use these new energies at the moment to find self-worth through supporting and loving yourself again, so you can bring in stable relationships that give you purpose as a protector and stability of self, of not only self, but also of others. So you can soften into letting go enough to be vulnerable and open for more wisdom to show up, also so that you can choose to surround yourself with feel safe enough for others to be themselves as well. Sorry, muck that up. But it's all to do with the masculine feeling safe within themselves at the moment. So if you think about it, we have this imbalance that's happened where the masculine side of us has been dictating everything, and it's just been going over in a repetitive cycle and not actually evolving much. And now the feminine power is coming back in and saying, hey, I have many, many ideas. How about we try this one? The logical mind has to then agree. So then the logical mind will agree to maybe one of them, but then it will ground it. So it will fixate on it enough to be grounded into this reality, but then it has to be vulnerable enough or soft enough within itself to let go of the idea once it starts to feel uncomfortable, because it's all to do with our feelings and how we move through this world through a loving feeling. So if it's grounded it and it's all great, that's fantastic. You're going through a beautiful feeling. It's what you wanted to do. But if it's not feeling really good for self, then the logical mind or the masculine side of ourselves needs to have the capacity, or you do as a soul, to let go of that, to then throw your line back out into the sea and ask for a new imagination to come in, and then wield that. And before, when they were talking about the feminine, If it starts to act like a masculine, it will fixate on one idea only and try to control its outside world, and tell the logical mind that it has to do that. Well, the logical mind is like not agreeing with it. So there's this push-pull, there's this resistance happening. I think that's kind of summing it up a little bit better of before, sorry. Remember, as I'm channeling, sometimes I'm getting these beautiful scenarios that they're telling me, and my logical brain has to also go, yeah, okay, I get that now. But I'm trying to be as open as I possibly can to be able to get as many messages for you guys. There's also, I just go back to the beginning of these messages. Watch out for people you surround yourself with at the moment as their reality folds into yours, either proving your reality into existence or not. So if you're constantly with somebody that is not going to prove your reality into existence, and you know that that's going to make you feel really, really, really good, then you have to look at what you've been holding on to try to control this other person rather than letting them go. See, same scenario. That's in a relationship ways. Right, now we're going to go into, this was really huge. So I actually did a Facebook post on this message, and I'll share screen for a moment so that you can actually see my posting. Okay. So this is a huge message for these times. The Queen's Chamber in the Egyptian pyramid is a place of high manifestation, as it is a place where your belief in yourself is manifested outside of you directly. And apparently in the Queen's Chamber, they shut it off because people were going in there with fears within themselves, and they hadn't gone through the process that the Egyptians took them through, where they went through all these kind of exercises to show that they weren't in fear anymore, and that they were living from their truth of supporting who they were. And literally, this is what humanity is going through right now. We are going through this trial period of learning how to navigate this world without the fear. And they actually got them to go under the pyramids and swim through all these chambers with crocodiles and so forth in them, and if they got out the other side, then they weren't in fear, and so then they could go into the Queen's Chamber, because the Queen's Chamber, or the right hemisphere, has the capacity to be able to entangle with many, many possibilities. And if you go into that with fear, then you are starting to bring in the fear game as well. So in the Queen's Chamber, actually manifested or grounded in real time. People would go in there and be afraid of spiders, and then all of a sudden they'd see spiders coming at them and so forth, or drowning or being trapped, and then they'll be trapped and so forth. So they actually close that Queen's Chamber off. This is the truth of the feminine power, as it is a direct link to the soul, and why so many had to go through a series of tests to make sure they knew themselves enough not to allow any fears to overpower them and be manifested before they entered the Queen's Chamber. Now is the time for the feminine power to rise and show the truth of what humanity has forgotten, as they allowed the masculine to dictate what's created next. But it is only the feminine that creates. Hello, we create. We're the ones that gives birth into a new world. We actually give birth to babies and everything. And so it is the masculine's job to hold that creation once we decide it. So we have this experience. So once we decide, the masculine and feminine decide together as a unity, yes, we like that creation. And then we can hand it over to the masculine's job to actually say, yes, this is the thing that we're going to create. And he stays steadfast in it until he does all the logical, all the masculine action, the actual physical action. And so it's in the process of creating the business or the building or whatever it is. For if we keep allowing the masculine to do the job of the feminine, then we will repeat many problems till our reality consumes itself, as the soul will always find a way home, even if that means death. So that's pretty full on. Stop sharing. I'll just get rid of that one too. Yeah, so that's pretty full on messaging right there. And just the fact that this feminine power that we have within us that can actually bring in new possibilities also includes all the magic that we hold within our imagination. So you know that your imagination can imagine vast things. It can imagine telepathy. It can imagine telekinesis. It can imagine, leaving the stars, leaving the body as astral traveling. It can imagine talking to plants. It can imagine all those things that are in Alice in Wonderland, right? The fairy tales have held a lot of our codes of our feminine side and locked them in something, and then the masculine turned around because it was overpowering and it couldn't understand that. And it hadn't been grounded yet. None of that magic had been grounded at this moment in humanity's reality anyway. Not saying it didn't in the past, but so the masculine turned it into just a fairy tale. It's whimsical. It's not true. It's just a pretend story sort of thing. But anything that is imagined, that is grounded, is no longer a pretend story. So we've got to start getting this way of thinking into our heads again, that we can actually ground way more magic on this world. We have way more abilities within ourselves once we decide that's what we're going to ground. And most of this grounding of the magical side is going to come from us becoming a central point to our own existence, coming back into living in the moment. Because in the moment, all possibilities can come onto our platter of existence through the right feminine hemisphere. And then with the masculine side of us, we can say, yes, now I'm going to agree to that. So then we start to work towards it. I bring some of this stuff up too in the master classes that I've poured in as well. So there's a lot of information in the master classes if you really want to do those. I've done a lot of work, months and months and months of work. So just calm myself down a little bit. Yeah. This is actually one of my own images that I put on a mug. It's of a little fairy. That lady there, her name's Ali. She was so a fairy. She was one of my good friends. Oh, she still is, but we've gone our own ways. I think she's in some safari somewhere off with her husband now. Any case, let's get back to some more messages about our power and what we're going to make. So this is why these changes are going to take place. It's because we're going to start grounding or seeing some of this magic actually being developed. Because of the holding of certain masters in this world of the past, because of their vibrational holding and fifth dimensional the same leverages of reality, okay, we're opening up their doors to our existence, our limited existence, and allowing only specific people to come in and learn from that dimension, and then go back, be fed back into the world that they were born into. Their vibration and the vibration of the masters that actually did the work, even though they're outside reality, was not that. Kudos to all of them. Honestly, they have gone through the mill and back. They have held open a portal, so to speak, or a energetic alignment for our babies to be born with specific gifts, with certain gifts. This is why we also have in reflection movies coming up that have superheroes and so forth in it. It's just the evolutional process of humanity moving back into actually returning home. Those gifts will come when one finds one central space within self. And so some of those babies are born, or those children are born with that central space of knowing who they are, so grounded within themselves that they are more than what their outside reality is teaching them, that they can actually their passions and desires, their soul, are fixated on grounding specific gifts to be born within them. And then they will be people or the guides for others to come further. So that's happening as well. Then we also have, because of this magical opening of a vortex, allowing more to come into shift, and the screaming out of humanity's consciousness, saying we don't want to be fixated in on this very limited world. We feel there's something more that we can expand into. They ended up allowing light workers and star beings and that sort of thing to be born from other frequencies, other planets, other dimensions. Then those souls could come through as well. Some of them are the ones that I was just talking about. Some of them are specific, and they will ground their wisdom from their planet, specifically from their planet or their dimension, and then they will start to activate that when they come back into central point of themselves and knowing who they are. So it's all to do with this, at this moment of this void, and us squeezing ourselves into a place of uncomfortableness that we can't now know exactly what's going to constantly happen, that we have to take the reins of creating what's going to happen. And to do that, we need to find balance within oneself. We can't, because we're no longer asking somebody outside of us to tell us what's the rules, how do we do this. And that actually just ended up within our reality, bringing in perpetrators that were coming from their own imbalanced mind of needing to control somebody to actually dictate what the rules were. So we ended up with these rules that actually limited us so badly that we couldn't move anymore. Our imagination couldn't discover anything more. We weren't even allowed to use our imagination in our schools and so forth. And it's there for a purpose, right? It's there for a reason. It never disappeared. Even though they tried to ignore it, they tried to tell us as children to stop imagining things out the window and all of that. They tried to stop us. It still stayed there. Why? Because it's part of our whole existence, part of who we are. So you can't deny something completely. You can pretend it's not there. You know, I'm not going to look at that or whatever. Yeah, you can do that. It's still there. It's still going to come up. It'll just probably manifest itself into conjuring up negative things that are scary, because it's constantly wanting to be heard. Therefore, horror stories and all that sort of stuff starts coming into your reality. And you're constantly wanting some sort of excitement, because the excitement of creating something wonderful and beautiful just doesn't even seem possible at them anymore. It was only due to the fear-based scenario of humanity's consciousness moving through fear that it ended up creating things that would confirm to the logical mind, or those or ourselves or those in charge, that fear ruled our reality. But when we step into the Queen's chamber or into the feminine side of ourselves, we cannot be stepping in through fear. Even when I had the experience of going on the vision quest over in Ohio, and I ended up having to, well, I could go into the higher frequencies even though I was coming from a war zone or a fear-based zone, but that elder would have shot me straight away. She shot me straight away. It's just that I was overprotected. It's like I had a team of higher dimensional beings that protected me from this elder that was protecting my pineal gland, or my connection to my soul, and that allowed for me to experience fifth dimensions and up through it sporadically, not all the time. Obviously, I lived in this dimension limited space of consciousness as well, but it gave me a heads up so that I could, because somebody had to be born here that could move into those places, even though we were all in the warlike zone, just so that they could share this information. And that's actually one of the things that prompted me to share a lot of the information. I held a lot of my information. I mean, I'm 56 now. I held it until I was about 50 years old, and I was too scared to share it. That's how bad. Like, I did teeny little bits, tried to, and then I just pull back. And now I went through so much trauma that I went, well, if I can get through all of that trauma, why don't I just turn around and tell everybody what I've been learning now? So it's funny how that's the way that reality works. But they those that are coming up now, you will recognize them through their heart space. You'll recognize them. They have such passion and desire and they will want to be helping. They will want to empower you and through their own empowerment of themselves. Yeah. Hey, Yannicka and Celtic and everybody in the chat bar. I got your message too, Yannicka. All good. You know, these are the things that happen. I'm not sure. Like master classes are going to probably be, you know, they go for a couple of months there and then they'll stop and then I will bring them back again and I'll be adding more to them as well. So, but then there'll be separate other ones. So, you know, more different masterclass, what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and the telepathic games that I've created for you guys in those classes are so juicy. They're so cool. As you know, I'm a graphic artist anyway. I've been lucky enough. I'm all self-taught too. Everything that I do is self-taught, graphic artist, self-taught, Photoshop. I literally went into a graphic for a graphic job and all I knew is how to draw. And when the man asked me, or the manager asked me, do you know freehand? I think it was freehand and there was a couple of programs, Photoshop or something. I didn't. I knew how to use a mouse. That was it on a computer because this is way back in 1990s. And I didn't like lying either. So I went like that. Could have been seen as a yes or a no. And he just took it as a yes. And I got the job. And oh my God, literally the first job I had a ruler up on the screen. That's how bad it was. But the guy that was in charge, he had a huge ego. He was really useless at his job. And he was like, yeah, I'm better than her. She doesn't know what she's doing. But he gave me a book and I learned real quick. Within 3 days, I drew out a whole circuit board. So I am self-taught in every single way, every single manner that you can think. And I think that's just part of my existence of knowing that I'm not ruled by somebody else telling me what to learn and what to do. I can go out there and do this myself. And this is where our education is going to go as well. So education is going to start opening up through homeschooling, not only homeschooling, but learning whatever someone is passionate about off the internet, off the YouTubes and all those sort of things. So we then become more open to a lot more things being discovered. And that's another reason why I've done these classes as well, because I do feel in the future people are going to be looking out for things like that. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I do know I'll just do this first one and then we will find whether I put it on for people to purchase whenever or I'm not sure how it's all going to work out. I'm just trusting this game too. Any case, good to see everyone in the chat bar. Okay. What else have we got coming through here that can help us in this time? So we are sitting in a void at the moment in an unknown aspect of ourselves, trying to find balance or asking ourselves, how can we find balance? So how can we find balance? It is absolute letting go. Whenever you find stress within your body, whenever you find tension or an awkward position or whatever, there's something that needs to be let go of. The body is one that will teach you straight up of you've got tension or something resisting within your thought patterns. So then it is to do with learning that when you feel that way, That's why they say take a deep breath, because it starts to bring your focus into the breath. And so your mind, because it's focused in on the breath, lets go of the thought that was holding you hostage or holding you into a tension place, a tense place. So we have to learn to relax into this. It's no good staying tense all the time and then trying to avoid something by working or getting out there and doing something physical or whatever. It doesn't actually, if you constantly do that, it doesn't work. We have to also learn to relax into this, letting go. So we feel vulnerable as well. There is a vulnerability to that masculine side that feels, well, now what? What's my purpose? Where am I? Like, it's constantly been screaming and yelling and controlling, and sounds like our leaders, right? And telling us what to do and that. And it's just been playing these games of, even if I don't know what to do, I'm just going to scream out something that, that sort of thing. And then you end up with these mind thoughts of, I don't really want to think about this because it's making me feel tense. But we have to learn to breathe into vulnerability of the logical mind, not really knowing exactly what's going to happen next. So that's bringing us back into that moment. And then it has to trust something from an unknown aspect of ourselves, which is the feminine side connecting to our soul. And that will show through as oh my God, I'm so excited to do that. I am passionate about that. That really excites me. I love the thought of doing that. And it can flicker from one moment to another. And the more that you do that and allow it to flow, that you don't have to hold on to things so tightly when it feels wrong. It's kind of like, we've really been programmed into that. I remember going to ballet, and at first I really liked it. And then it wasn't free enough for me because I'm a very free dancer. I'm not very good at copying other people either, because I'm a dyslexic. So if someone says left foot, probably do the right foot, spin the wrong way and all that sort of thing. Get told off about it. And then I can't remember the procedure of pointing that and doing that. And then so my logical mind has to let go enough for me to be free to be able to explore much. And I remember going to those classes and my mum, you have to do a full year. You can't just quit. And I understand why, because she's paid the money probably. But from my point of view as a little kid, a full year is a long time. And I felt trapped. And then I ended up breaking my arm because I didn't really want to go. My soul literally brought me into an accident. And that's what happens with us when we stay stuck in something like that. I'm not saying you want to be to the point where you just do all sorts of different things, 1,000 different things, and nothing's ever grounded. I mean, our whole point is to ground things as well. But once we actually start agreeing from our passion of our hearts, and we agree we want to ground that, then the possibilities are endless of that. When it's grounded, it will never go away. Like me doing what I'm doing here now and producing the classes and producing all the videos. I've got like over 500 videos on my YouTube. Some of them are very creative messages. And I love it. And it's not supported me completely yet, but I know that's coming. And not even that aside, it would never stop. That would never stop, because I know that this is what my soul really wants. I'm just trying to give you a understanding of what it actually feels like when you decide from both logical and the feminine and the logical mind to ground something. When it works together, it's like a couple that love each other so much that they are helpful for each other instead of resisting, and that they see each other's genuine heart space of wanting to create on this beautiful world, in this physical world. Yeah. It's a marriage. We're also they're telling me that we're also going to see a lot more marriages become real. It's not so cool. I mean, you can get married if you want, but the actual unions of feminine and masculine are going to be more real because the union within ourselves is more real. We're understanding ourselves a lot better now, and the magic that each side can bring in. And so when we start doing that within us and we come to central point, we are going to find that the partners that we magnetize to ourselves, remember a magnet, you know how you always say, I'm a magnet? Well, hello, you can't just be, they are telling me that both of you will be magnets. So you'll come together like that rather than one waiting and then going, one's just doing nothing. So there's still an ounce of, I feel at this moment to go on a dating site. I feel at this moment to go golfing. I feel at this moment. And so you go and do the action, and then that action will bring you to this partner because you're already in the mindset of everything unifying, where you're outside, you love your outside reality as much as your inner world. All of that is unifying. It's all through love of how you see it within yourself first, and then it ends up becoming that outer world as well. So there's going to be a lot more relationships that aren't based on a lack of something magnetizing someone to wake them up. It's going to be based on loving oneself and fully embracing that the other person coming in is generally, we respect each other generally through that love. And so we know that each of us are going to bring in something in the moment. If there's any resistance between the two couples, then they will be looking in an inner world to see where their resistance are within themselves and then come back together again. It's really interesting. They're showing me someone also, the freedom that comes from that. The freedom of being able to go overseas and do what you need to do in the moment, but feeling within oneself very strong support of that person, even if they've left for a while to do their own thing. So the person that's staying home feels really strong that this love cannot be shattered by the illusion of distance. And that also, with that comes telepathy between the couples anyway, understanding that they are there energetically for each other. That's why sometimes when one person dies, the person who loved them can get angry because they knew that that person's soul wanted to escape them. And so they get angry that they wanted to escape. They feel the energy that goes with it as well. It's really interesting. But when we come into this full circle of union, they keep showing me that DNA spiral of moving away and being free to explore. There's a freedom that comes from that. Then that union that happens ends up creating beautiful things on this planet, beautiful things through self-empowerment, knowing oneself. Yeah, so we're all going through this huge lesson at the moment anyway. And we're also learning how to find out how to change things up. So how to change things. So if you don't really like something, and learning in this void kind of a place to let go of it enough to focus in on what you really desire, and that's seeing the changes that happen around that focus. So we're tentatively moving, they're showing me that bridge again, tentatively moving to the central point of the bridge. When we cast the line out from living in the moment, we cast the line out knowing that our masculine mind is right there with us, Our physical world is right there with the etheric world. When we cast that line out, the endless possibilities, the psychic possibilities, the connection, the wisdom, and all of that that comes through is going to be so plentiful. We're not going to be worried anymore about what the future holds, because we are to be creating the future in every given moment through love of self. Yeah. Wow. It really took me on a journey today. Okay, I'll do a couple of readings for people in the chat bar who wants one. But yeah, if you're leaving me here, love you guys heaps. If you're going to listen to the messages, though, that come through, they could be for you. So even if it is just someone in the chat bar. So I will open that up and just give a little bit of time, because I know there's a time lapse when I do Zoom. And just say yes, would love one, yes, please, whatever, just so that I know that you're in agreement with me doing an actual reading for you. Celtic. Start off with Celtic. Don't forget, I'm an intuitive counselor. I do readings for people as well, like on Zoom. If you want one, the link is down below. Healing, Celtic, we have a position at the moment that you've put yourself in, that you can heal something that's going to take you into such a beautiful space. They're showing me literal light coming out of, these mandalas that are on this being that's behind, like the hands are being held there. It's like you've been held in a place of self-healing, not just healing of oneself. Could have been things that you fixated on that you thought was your personality, and it held you in a space there that you thought was your personality or who you are, but really it was just a program you didn't recognize. And many of us are going through this at the moment. There's been so many programs that have been for generations pulled over our grandmothers and great grandmothers and so forth, that slowly put us in a smaller box to bring us here now. And before that, we had way more imagination and things happening. There was a lot more going on. The true history is wrong. But in any case, what's happening now, though, because we have been pushed into a smaller box and we've been taught that this is who we are, when we start peeling back those massive layers, we're also doing the karmic healing of our predecessors as well, that got caught in the same program loop, so that when they come back into decide to come back, reincarnate, then they have learnt the lesson through you, and they won't bring that energy back through again. And this is how we also bring in a whole new world as well, because we're stopping those that have come with the warped program within themselves, not coming through, not being born like that anymore either. Yeah, so it's a big job, Celtic. Okay, Yannicka, you have intensity. That's something that they want you. Oh, okay. Intensity of working. Look, source energy has come through. This is also the Sun card, so a very positive card. And I felt that even when this intensity come through, sometimes this intensity can create ripples around you, people not liking who you're turning into or something, because they weren't there for that. They were there for your healing. But there's some sort of intensity a passion that's coming through straight from your soul. And that passion or desire is probably going to move more than what you think. Move mountains. You can actually move mountains when you start to work like this more, because you are moving. Before, you might have been moving through, tried a little bit of intensity or passion or whatever, but you still held on to this program of self-doubt, of, well, that's not really going to work because of something that you were persecuted with in your past life, and it's been alleviated now. It's like in this void, it's been alleviated now, and so you're coming into the ability to be more intense. And I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel Pleiadian energy at the moment. It's like a very much more softer, gentler thing, even though there's intensity with it in the intensity card. These Pleiadian beings are coming through for you. Self-nurturing. You've got this. You can connect to them. There's something happening for you. Oh, it's really beautiful. It feels beautiful. I love that feeling when they come through really strongly like that. I had that feeling through the whole portal to Pleiades video that I created for 2 weeks. That's why I could do that video so quickly with all the artwork that they wanted me to do of their world. Yeah, if you want to look at that, that's on my channel as well. Such a beautiful, peaceful feeling. Okay, who else have we got here that wants a reading? We have Sky. Message for Sky, please. Message for Sky. Sorry, I haven't read much of the chat bar either today. I was just in the zone, and it was becoming quite overwhelming, so I had to keep pulling myself back out. But it was really beautiful information coming through, so I wanted to keep that up. Okay. Sky. Oh, that's interesting. So we had this card of projections came in, and it came in upside down, but then it swiveled and it turned itself around like that, and right in front of me. I didn't touch it. So it went on like that, and then it turned itself around. So projections, we have to be careful of expectations of others. And when we're a highly empathic person, we can feel into what other people really want from us, and we tend to fold into that quite easily. But they want you to bring back your power and no longer project what other people want out of you, but to find your own true value within yourself. It's more important at the moment than what other people are desiring of you. Yes, we understand that you're empathic and that you can actually feel into other people, which gives you compassion for all. But to ignite this beautiful power within yourself, you're going to have to realize that sometimes you have to be put first. You need to do this from your own back, not from empathically feeling into what other people want so you can fit into their world. There's something more coming through for you once you stop doing this. Yeah. Okay. Got Debbie. Okay, we have 2 faced up and 2 face down. Oh, Debbie, you've got some cool things coming your way. So we are the world, and success card came out. So there's something something coming towards you that's like a high end gift. And be grounded. Maybe you've been waiting for quite some time for this to happen, and so this is maybe a confirmation. Hang in there, stay in there. I don't know why they're saying stay in there. I don't know what that is, but also we have the master and the inner voice was in reverse. So we have 2 highly successful cards of gifts being grounded here, but the master and the inner voice is in reverse. These cards all fell out together. That's why I'm reading them together. And they were placed down too. Oh, okay. So this is to come. You might end up having a psychic gift coming in even more so. I do feel like this has got a groundedness to it though. But this is upside down and back to front. So this is like you're on the master. You're on the master they're showing me the bridge. So they're wanting you to come into the living in the moment even more. You can cast your line now, they're saying. You can cast your line and capture the shark that I had in the dream, that psychic funnel of just going to align you to seeing your outside world move up with you in the fact of knowing who thyself is. The power of your soul is coming in. Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, we'll leave it there. Otherwise I'll go on forever. Okay, so that was for Debbie. Yeah, so that's a good one. Justin. Justin, you saw me you heard me shuffle, right? You heard me put them all back in. Success comes straight out for you as well. So you're on the verge of something. And I really feel at this moment, these cards are coming out so that you don't give up. There's something that they don't want you to give in. They want you to believe more in yourself, believe more in yourself, believe more in yourself. That you deserve success. Believe that you deserve success. The outside reality is only feeling into the outside reality is only feeling into how you truly energetically feel about yourself. You cannot hide that. There's no deceptions there. It is or it isn't. You either totally trust who you are and where you're going, or you don't. Yeah. You do have feeling like the outsider, feeling that slowing, like almost a fear of slowing down as well. But slowing down is going to bring you into the moment and bring you into feeling at home again within yourself, because you're no longer got that niggly, horrible thoughts of this is going to happen. Oh my God, I'm never going to do all those horrible mind thoughts. So you're in some healing phase as well to be able to get to the success of where you're going. Okay. Hey, Black Diamond. May I have a reading, please? Yes, that will be. Black Diamond. Yeah, if anyone didn't see the solar message, the solar flares are still happening and quite a few big ones. Oh my gosh. And my message that came through for that. So that's on that is on my YouTube as well. So Black Diamond, you have innocence. So they want you to become, this is a master card as well. This man is a master. He's a master of his mind. And so he's now in a playful energy of playing with his reality outside of himself as a fun thing, and seeing his outside reality as something beautiful and just like a little child would. So he's got the innocence of a child, but he has the wisdom of a master. And when you come into innocence like that with the wisdom, you are fully protected in yourself and who you are, but you are seeing your outside world as beautiful and something that you can learn from as well. And I'm going in this, I literally am losing my mind while I'm talking to you. So they want you to lose your mind. Lose it. Just lose it. And this is probably a message for just about everyone. Just lose it. So funny. Lose it. It's not doing you any good anyway by the nagging, niggly thoughts. So lose it. That's just have a go at not doing it anymore. Seeing where that void takes you. Take some deep breaths into it and know that you're safe, and knowing that the logical mind doesn't have to dictate every single move anymore. It's not going to create your future. It'll only bring you more of the past. So lose it and become innocent and masterful within your reality. Okay, guys, I think I'll leave it here. So until Thursday, when I'll come back with, I don't know what, probably another beautiful tarot reading and anything in between that they give me. Sometimes I'll just sporadically go live with a crazy ass message that they want me to bring in, and I'm just going to do it from now on. So whether it's from the car or not, or just going live. Love you guys heaps. Don't forget, next Monday, my masterclasses are going for sale. Until then, bye.